Time for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. My name is Damien, and now we are on episode 4 of Tales from the Crypt, season 2. It's called Till Death. And like all episodes, it's brought to you by Cool Dude Inc. Go click on the link below. Go check out some shirts. Don't be like me and buy shirts at Walmart. You know, Walmart, home of the $8 shirt. If you're going to buy an $8 shirt from Walmart, make sure you have time to try it on before you purchase it. Grab like 3. I'm sure they're all 3 going to fit differently. Find the one that forms your body the most. This shirt. I like the print. The shirt, it's long. It goes almost down to my knees. My shanana knees. It's time to cue up the Whiskey Bats, who you can listen to on Spotify. Go check them out. They got other good songs too. Let's go. Logan Andrews is a rich man who just bought an island and he's planning to build on it. But first he's going to have a dinner party, and that's where he meets Margaret. Margaret is rich too, even richer than him. She's visiting from England and she's hot, but she's also a total fucking biatch. But just then, one of his workers comes in and tells him, like, hey, this land, it's mostly quicksand. This land is useless. You can't build on it. And in order to build on it, it would cost you so much. It's like impossible. Nobody has that much money. This land is useless. And at this point, because his workers are Jamaican, and it's like, does Logan own slaves? What fucking year is this taking place? It looks kind of modern day, but... And another thing, quicksand? As a kid, I thought for sure by the time I reached the age that I am now, I would have experienced quicksand, or a bear trap, a snake bite, rope trap. I'd be hanging upside down. None of that has happened so far. Maybe I'm just lucky, or maybe 80s television lied to me a little bit. But nothing happened. Turns out my grandma was wrong. I could have walked to the mailbox by myself that whole time. Logan heads back to the house, and he levels with his buddy Freddie and says, hey man, this place sucks. It's quicksand. It's a money trap. I can't build here. What am I going to do? It would cost so much to build here. My plans. He's like, I'm done. I'm ruined. That rich guy thing. I'm ruined. I'm going to have to live like normal people for the rest of my life. But Freddie points out, what about Margaret? That chicken there, she's got money. She's worth millions. Maybe she's not such a bitch after all. I've noticed a lot of Tales from the Crypt episodes, and this is something I do want to incorporate in each episode, is when I start noticing patterns or what gets attacked. This is kind of survival tips. Survival tips is, don't be a gold digger, because a lot of Tales from the Crypt episodes have gold diggers in them, and the gold diggers always fucking lose. But he tries to talk to her, and he strikes out with her. She just straight up rejects him. He goes to his Jamaican friend, who I didn't realize was his ex. And she's played by Aunt Bibb from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's Will's aunt. The original Bibb, not the newer Bibb. And what is up with Jamaican voodoo in the late 80s and early 90s? We had like Marked for Death, where Steven Seagal took on all of these Jamaican... How do we go from like smoking weed and listening to Bob Marley to being Public Enemy #1? Got Steven Seagal trying to take him out. And then in Chucky, there was some voodoo shit in there that I'm sure came from Jamaica. It's like, what, they smoke weed, listen to music, and cast spells on each other? What's going on? Or is this just like weird racism lingering around? It's like, well, the Jamaicans seem cool. Yeah, but did you know they're into voodoo? And they do spells and shit. They're basically witchcraft. It's like black witchcraft. It's witchcraft for black people. Logan gets a love potion from her. 1 drop, she'll be your wife. 2 drops, she'll be yours forever. Forever. He goes back to the house and meets up with Margaret and makes her a drink and spikes it. And like within seconds, like immediately, she's like, wow, I feel hot. Is it hot in here? Did it just get hot in here? And he's like, hey, baby. And she's like, whatever. And she totally rejects him and leaves. But later that night, she returns. And he's like, is that you, Margaret? And she's like, yes, it's me, but don't call me Margaret. Call me Maggie, you know, because that's way sexier. They fuck, but we don't get any boobage. And in the morning, he spikes another drink for her, makes her another little love cocktail. But little does he know, Vivian's practicing voodoo on the both of them from her little hut down the way. And Vivian fucking kills her. And her last words are,
I'll always love you forever and ever.
and the next scene they bury her, you know, not like in the backyard, but like there's a funeral. And after the funeral, Logan goes over to Vivian's and he's like, bitch, you he like attacks her. He's like throwing her around. He's like, you killed her. And she's like, no, I did. And it's funny because he's not wrong, but she totally denies. She's like, I didn't kill her. You killed her. You gave her too much, didn't you? And he's kind of like, nah. Yeah. And he goes home. And that night he gets drunk and he visits her grave. Like now suddenly, like, because to me as the viewer watching this, I feel like this happened the night before last. I feel like it happened last night, but there must have been at least a night because he didn't just, funerals don't happen the day after somebody died. But like he didn't care about it. He wanted her money, but now he's sitting in her grave getting drunk and he's like heartbroken. Like he was actually in love with her. He's like, oh, I can't believe, which I can see feeling bad and feeling responsible to where, like, I think you'd view somebody different. Like, if it's like, oh, this person's kind of annoying, but then if you were responsible for killing them, you'd be like, oh, that poor person, they didn't do it. It's like, you would feel like a piece of shit. But then suddenly, Ryan breaks out of the grave, and she climbs out. She's back. She's not even aware that she died, and he's just like, Vivian. And they fuck next to her grave. There's still no boobage. But it was actually Vivian who brought Margaret back to life. Vivian's just a little puppet master over there. Just like, hey, you're dead, now you're alive, now you're dead. In the morning, Logan talks to his friend Freddie, the doctor. And he's like, hey man, you made a mistake. She wasn't dead. She came back. She's in the house right now. And Freddie's like, she was dead. I didn't make a I've made mistakes before, but that was not a mistake. He's like, oh no. You made a huge mistake. She's not dead. He's like, yes, she was. He's like, dude, I embalmed her. And as they're talking, Margaret comes up from behind him and just hacks his head off. Freddie's head rolls on the table, and Logan's like, what the fuck? And her face is not as pretty and freshly, like, when she came back, she looked like she did when they buried her. Now, she's looking a little rough. She's looking a little rough on the face. Hey, you're looking a little rough around the face because the death is catching up with her. And Logan panics and realizes, you know what? I must have gave her too much love potion. And he grabs his gun and he shoots her like 5 times in the belly. And she falls. But then she gets back up and she's like, I just got this dress. And he's like, oh shit. He runs out of the house. But he forgot about the quicksand outside. And quickly he just runs right into it. He's running for a while, but he ends up in the quicksand. He's like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. Oh no. And she catches up to him. And she like reaches down and pulls him out and saves him. Because she loves him. Like, this ghoul is only here for love. And he's like, oh geez, you saved me, thank you. And then he like kicks her into this quicksand and she falls on her lantern because somehow she had the time to light a lantern before falling him. Even though she was like right behind him the whole time. It's like, when did you light the fucking lantern? But he kicks her in, she lands on it, it breaks open, catches her on fire, so she's on fire, sinking into the mud. And she goes, she goes below. She's gone. Problem solved. And Logan goes back home and he grabs his bottle of whiskey, or whatever that was, and he starts drinking. It's almost like he's trying to drink himself sober as he thinks about this nightmare he's just been through. Then he hears like this tapping on the window. He's like, what the? He's like, no. And in breaks Margaret, full on skull face. And she's like, hey, where'd you go? I love you. And he's like, no. And he grabs this bottle of poison he just happens to have laying around. and he drinks it really quick, and he blacks out, and he wakes up, he's at Vivian's place. And Vivian tells him, it's like, yeah, I brought you back. You're not getting out of that easy. And she kind of gestures, and old Skeletor walks in and wants a big kiss. And that concludes this episode. The moral of the story is, don't be an asshole, and don't try and use people. Thank you guys for watching. Keep watching Tales from the Crypt 2. I will see you guys next time. And if you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe. But until next time, see ya.